When I stepped out of a quarantine zone bunker into the verdant landscapes of England's Lake District during the opening moments of Atomfall, my mind didn't immediately jump to Bethesda's Fallout series as I had anticipated. Instead, I found myself thinking of Elden Ring. While Atomfall isn't nearly as vast in scale, this survival action-adventure game adopts a similar approach to From Software's 2022 masterpiece. It drops you into a foreign land with no clear sense of identity, offering only cryptic clues about where to go next. The game trusts you to carve your own path through its varied and often intimidating terrain, uncovering its mysteries organically along the way. This freeform storytelling structure kept me thoroughly engrossed and consistently surprised throughout the 15 hours it took to reach the credits, despite occasional struggles with inconsistent combat encounters against enemies as brutish as they are British. Windscale, the pride of Britain, is nestled in the picturesque Lake District. The state-of-the-art atom plant has transformed this rugged landscape into the envy of its northern neighbors. Inspired by the real-world Windscale nuclear disaster of 1957, Atomfall is set 5 years later in a fictionalized, meticulously crafted quarantine zone. This area, walled off around the ruined reactor site and its neighboring villages, woodlands, and farmland, is cut off from the outside world. Rifts have formed among the surviving populace, pitting an occupying military force against rival factions. The game presents conflicting moral dilemmas as you decide which quirky quest givers to align with and which to betray, offering a flexible system that feels more inspired by Fallout New Vegas than Fallout 4's rigid ethical choices. Adding to the sense of paranoia are regular communications from an unidentified voice in red phone booths scattered throughout the world, urging you to trust no one, like receiving repeated prank calls from Agent Fox Mulder. Be aware of who your friends are. In addition to your main quest to uncover the truth behind the Windscale accident, there are numerous mini-mysteries to solve. These can be picked up through conversations or discovered in discarded documents within the many unique structures scattered across Atomfall's interconnected maps. Early on, I found myself sidetracked by enticing distractions, like investigating the murder of the vicar's assistant in Wyndham Village Church. Why in the church? Or figuring out who, or what, was locked up in the residence above the local bakery. I've got nothing to hide. Nothing at all. I haven't. Sometimes these leads were resolved through diplomacy, while others ended in violence. I'm shooting. The various leads and conspiracies only grew more tantalizing and morally murky from there. What sets Atomfall apart is its organic approach to guiding the player. Instead of a compass pointing you to your next objective, the game teases subtle hints, encouraging you to piece together puzzles yourself. This might involve measuring longitude and latitude coordinates on the map, deciphering vague location descriptions, or spotting plumes of chimney smoke rising from a distant farmhouse. This approach kept me grounded in the world, scrutinizing every detail in a way few other games do. It was refreshing to explore a map free of typical open-world clutter, relying on my own curiosity as a compass rather than being steered by obnoxious waypoints. Welcome to what's likely the last pub in Cumberland, such as it is. Now, what can I do for you? It's also novel to experience a survival action game so endearingly British. Atomfall introduces eccentric side characters, like one who sounds like the Major from Fawlty Towers. You'll forgive me if I'm less than cordial on first acquaintance, I'm sure. And another who's the spitting image of Queen Elizabeth II. You must forgive me, I wasn't expecting visitors today. You can craft a poison bomb using a pint glass nicked from the local pub. Beer at the pub tastes like sheep death. Replenish health with a Cornish pasty, or reduce your heart rate with a warm cup of Earl Grey. While it follows in the wake of the Fallout London mod, Atomfall's detailed slice of northern England still feels wonderfully unique. As an Aussie raised on imported BBC shows, the game's personality-packed world felt both foreign and strangely familiar. Welcome to my little corner of the world. The quarantine zone is also shaped by the best of British science fiction and folk horror. There are deadly flowers blooming to intimidating heights in the woodlands, reminiscent of The Day of the Triffids, and towering wooden statues that nod to the Wicker Man. No, not the Beast. Actually, I meant the 1973 original, but now that you mention it, overacting Nicolas Cage. There are also swarms of killer bees. At one point, I could have sworn I saw the outline of a certain British doctor's blue phone booth on a distant hilltop, only to find it had apparently shifted itself to another space or time upon closer inspection. The only thing not very British is the weather. There's no weather system or day-night cycle, leaving the quarantine zone perpetually sunny. This creates one of the least dreary post-apocalyptic worlds I've explored, offering a stark contrast whenever you descend into the dark depths of subterranean bunkers and caves. Combat primarily takes place in these underground installations, where you face marauding outlaws, druid fanatics, feral mutants, and lumbering killbots. Each enemy can mercilessly snuff you out if you storm into their turf unprepared. Unlike Far Cry, where you can single-handedly gun down an army early on, Atomfall casts you as an everyman who's emerged from a bunker 5 years post-disaster. Your melee swings are desperate and deliberate, you're slow to reload your rusted shotgun or rifle, and your heart rate redlines with too much exertion, loosening weapon stability. By design, you're less of a well-oiled killing machine and more like a shopping cart with one wheel. Survival demands careful preparation and execution, resulting in a steep but satisfying learning curve. I quickly adopted a stealthy approach, especially after acquiring a bow during battles with druids in Casterfell Wood. Archery is silent, allowing you to thin enemy numbers without drawing attention, and arrows can often be retrieved from fallen foes. When things got loud, combat was exhilaratingly rough and tumble, though occasionally inconsistent. Sometimes it felt unfairly punishing, like being ambushed while squeezing under a half-closed roller door, while other times enemies were comically inept, lining up to be whacked by my cricket bat like Lake District lemmings. Look at all these Englishmen lining up to be whacked around by an Australian's bat. What is this, an Ashes series? One thing I appreciated was that patrolling enemies away from their bases wouldn't attack on sight if given a wide berth. This was a relief, as your only method of travel is on foot, and constant firefights would have made traversing the sizable world cumbersome. That said, a fast travel system would have been welcome, as there's a fair bit of backtracking in the story's second half, mitigated only slightly by secret sewer access points and smugglers' tunnels. Atomfall's skill tree is streamlined, with 4 main categories: ranged combat, melee combat, survival, and conditioning, each offering 9 unique perks. I invested most of my stimulants into slow-motion aiming for my bow and quieter sneak attacks, but melee-focused players might opt for perks like increased damage output with each kill or enhanced kick attacks to stagger enemies. Crafting is equally straightforward, with scavenged materials used to create everything from bandages to nail bombs and upgraded weapons. Thankfully, crafting can be done on the fly, without the need for workbenches. The most satisfying thing to craft, however, was my own fate. While I managed to keep several factions on side until the story's climax, I was ultimately forced to make a decision with severe consequences for my allies' Atomfall. From what I can tell, there are at least 5 potential outcomes, and I'm invested enough to revisit earlier saves to explore them all. This will involve investigating areas I neglected initially, like the lower reaches of a sinisterly glowing medical facility. Atomfall is a gripping survival action-adventure that synthesizes the best elements of Fallout and Elden Ring into its own fresh mutation. It presents a picturesque chunk of English countryside filled with alluring structures, eccentric locals, and absorbing mysteries, all underscored by classic British sci-fi and horror iconography. Despite occasionally unstable enemy behavior, Atomfall is a compelling post-apocalyptic survival story that satisfyingly bends to your choices and discoveries, no matter which direction you take. Watch it.